Hey folks, this is the Fighting Nerd and his co-host Jolly Roger. Once again, we're not filming ourselves, so you have to take our word for it that we are us and we are here. What we're going to do today is show you some of the starships that I've designed and drawn for the old, mostly for the old Star Trek Tactical Combat Simulator put out by the Phasa game in support of their Star Trek role-playing game. And sometimes I just get into the idea that I want to draw ships, and off I go. And here are some of them. This is the Declaration class torpedo cruiser. It's an all-torpedo armed warship, and in that particular game, all torpedo armament meant you didn't have to arm really power-hungry phasers that left you a whole lot more room, power left for shields and weaponry. And it was a really kick-ass warship. It did really well in the games. It's like a lot of my ships that I designed, they are dedicated warships because it was a combat-oriented game, and because, let's face it, Gene Roddenberry's utopian delusions aside, there would be a need for dedicated warships. It is just plain stupid to have a ship full of kids and parents going into potential combat situations. Now here's the Declaration class, more modern version of it in combat. Kind of a digital painting I did a while back. And of course, it is victorious over the villainous Klingons. As I said, this is kind of my version of the Enterprise upgrade from the old round nacelle version to the more modern motion picture era ships. And then we have the Vigilant class. This was just something I did on a lark. I never used it for the game. I used the kit bash version. I just found a bunch of different ship components online and put them together in Photoshop for this design. Again, another dedicated warship, and it would probably make Gene Roddenberry turn in his grave. The Izar class is a space control ship, exactly what that is. It is supposed to be able to secure the space lanes and trade lanes in the event of war. It's designed to operate by itself. It carries fighters, armed shuttles, and you can see it has turret-mounted phaser cannon instead of the usual phaser banks in a dedicated warship. Then we have a Klingon design, the Death Song class attack cruiser. This was intended as a commerce raider to go deep into Federation territory and disrupt supply lines and, of course, attack freighters and capture booty. I like this design. It was one of my favorite Klingons. And this is the Ripping Claw attack cruiser. This was the all-torpedo armed Klingon answer to the Declaration class. Again, all-torpedo armament, which meant those one-point torpedoes didn't take as much power as those big 5 or 6 point disruptors, which meant it had more power for shields and maneuvering, and it also did a heck of a lot of damage in the game, and was much feared, much hated by the people that had to go up against it. This is a Bajoran frigate. Of course, this is from Next Gen. This is a Next Gen design that would take place probably sometime after Deep Space Nine went off the air, when the Bajorans were starting to recover in their economy. I figured the first dedicated ship that the Bajorans would design would be a frigate with a crew of about 30. That was fast maneuverable and well-armed and atmospheric capable, and could contend with larger warships of the Cardassian Empire if they were in large numbers. This is one of my favorite ship drawings that I've done, and it was fairly popular on DeviantArt where I posted, and I'm going all my artwork, well, not all my artwork, but a lot of my artwork, including most of my ship designs, have been posted on DeviantArt, and I will put a link to my gallery in the description of this video. And this is an Andrian heavy cruiser, a species made that I made up for the game campaign we played back in the day. It's kind of a sleek, fast little ship. You can see it has culminator phasers, so this is a next generation era ship, torpedo armed, and also with Defiant-like pulse weapons on the weapons banks you can see visibly on the side. I did a lot of work with the Endrians, and there are a different version of them will probably appear in the science fiction books that I write. And these are just a few of our favorites. I've got a lot more Starships, and I may put them in other videos, but I'm going to keep this short, neat, and tidy. I've done some Next Generation ships and some non-Star Trek related ships from, say, the old UFO television series by Jerry Anderson, and some ships that will appear in my fiction from a story tentatively called The Bleeding Stars. But I wanted to do some Star Trek stuff. That seems to be pretty popular after all this time, and we need some decent Star Trek after the debacles that are the Abrams-verse films and Discovery. And I have done a video on why I say Discovery like Discovery. And that's all I have right now. So just remember that Fighting Nerd does fighting videos. Mostly that would be knife and other weapons videos, but there will be other self-protection oriented videos. And after he does one of those, he most generally will do a nerdy video like this one. Remember, folks, that words make history. And I bid you once again, goodbye.